How's it going, everybody? I am Preston Johnson.
Welcome to
Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV.
As a general life philosophy.
That's exactly right. You're a fish.
Qwan, by the way, my producer, Qwan Young, doing a good job. He'll be taking the calls. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, man, how are you?
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Welcome to the show, Bets TV, bringing you Last Word Cheetah. Welcome back to the Bets TV studios. This is Last Word Cheetah, brought to you by Bets TV. I'm Preston Johnson, your host, hanging out in Southern California with Qwan Young, who is feeling a lot better today after he lost his car keys and dropped his phone in a sewer and somehow disappeared from the face of the earth.
Tell him the truth. Listen, I'm going to split screen this real quick. Guys, if you ever get Nashville hot chicken,
hold on, where did you go?
Pray that you don't get it super hot. I forgot I think it's called Dave's Hot Chicken or something.
In L.A.? Is there one in Newport or Costa Mesa? Really?
Yeah. And I ordered it.
Oh, man. It's so good.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a certain level where it's so good. But this one was, I got brave and I went like super hot. So
hold on. We haven't even had this I love spicy food. Are you like that level? You love hot food?
I can. Yeah. When the stomach's, it's doing its thing. All the duodenums and everything are working.
I can't believe there's a Dave's down here. I always thought it was just in L.A.
I think it's Dave's.
This is bad news for me.
I was praying to porcelainitis, or whatever the god of toilets are, and it was a forward prayer and a sitting prayer.
So the first time I ever got Nashville hot chicken, like anytime you go to like 95% of the time, you get something that's hot or spicy, and it's actually not that hot or spicy. It is what it is.
That was the expectation.
First time I got Nashville hot chicken from like a legit place, I just got the hottest one. And I actually, and this is rare, prefer the notch down. The hottest one is like, okay, actually, this is uncomfortable.
I got a story about that. I don't think
let's continue. Go ahead.
But I had Nashville hot chicken once. I think it was from like KFC whenever they made the sandwich or whatever it was. I was like, oh wow, this is good.
That probably wasn't that hot, right?
No. And so I made my own. And the recipe called for a lot of crushed red pepper. And me being the chef that I am, I added a lot of crushed red pepper or whatever it is that makes it like super spicy. When I tell you that I burned off my taste buds for a week.
A week?
I couldn't.
It was that bad.
It was, and I kept eating it like a dumbass. It was like, oh, maybe this was just like a fluke. Maybe one of them got overseas.
Nope.
No. The entire week, it was like me crying, me not being able to taste anything. It was horrible. So Nashville hot chicken is my kryptonite.
Cuidado, as they say. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're back. No, that was Spanish. Portuguese is close to that, though. That's why, yeah. But I don't know why I said it that way, to be honest.
Muy caliente.
There you go. I need to practice my Spanish more. If anyone wants to do a segment in Spanish, Carlos. Although, remember when I brought it up once, he said he doesn't even speak Spanish. I don't know why I think that's so funny. All right. You said that Patrick was first on the line?
Patrick is first.
For those that are new to the show, 661-515-BETS. That's the phone line. We take your calls. We track them, and at the end of the month, we give away cash if you're good at making picks. So I think Mike was it last
Mike
month?
Was
145x plus ahead. Yeah, it was a ridiculous run. He won November. Pretty much a brand new month, though. That's what I'm getting at. So phone lines are open, and we do have Collin Wilson coming on the show in about 35 minutes to break down the conference championship games for the weekend for college football. I haven't seen much value on the board. Curious if he does, if there's any matchups that he likes. Anyways, yep. He just texted me to confirm, actually, just now. 140. So with that being said, go ahead and put Patrick through. Patrick, welcome to Last Word Cheetah. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fine. You know what? I'm the guy that always orders like the mildest, like chicken or anything. It's never enjoyable to me to be sweating while I'm eating my food. I don't like spicy stuff. It's just not enjoyable for me. But it's like watching a scary movie. I don't like it. I don't like something so suspenseful that it's just not enjoyable for me to watch it. So that's my mild take on that.
I mean, we could do an entire show on why I disagree. But here's the thing. I think that you must be sweating at a much lower scale or more frequently than me or most people. I don't really sweat when I eat spicy food. Yes, I imagine if you're constantly sweating when you have spicy food, that would be annoying. So I get that part. But I don't sweat unless it's just like way overboard. Like rarely have I gotten to that point.
I guess I'm a delicate flower. Well, when I eat that kind of food,
yes.
Yeah, it's like I'm in a sauna. So
a snowflake is the new term these days that the kids use, I believe.
I prefer delicate flower.
Okay.
Much more beautiful.
But yeah, just like me. Okay. So anyway, you know what? I'm not going to overthink anything tonight. This Saints team is so injured. I mean, with Kamara injured, they have two of their best offensive linemen injured. Marcus Davenport's out. And on the opposite spectrum, the Cowboys got the gang all back together. I mean, so the lines, I know I'm losing some value on the line. It's moved up to 6, but God, I would play this game anything under 7. I don't see how the Saints can keep up with this Cowboys offense. And I mean, Taysom Hill, he's taken over quarterback, and he's not even 100%. I mean, I don't know how mobile he can even be with his foot injury. So I don't see how this game stays under 7. So let's ride with the Cowboys tonight.
Fair enough. We will lock it in. You know, I'm always pro Taysom Hill and BYU. I don't think they would throw him into the mix here's my, I guess, one theory on this. They would just play Trevor Siemian if Taysom Hill on the ground wasn't a weapon they could utilize, especially with 2 or 3 offensive linemen, I think, that are out, you mentioned, for the Saints, and they probably are expecting that they need Taysom Hill to scramble. So I think he's pretty healthy. I think they were more cautious prior, and they need him tonight, and they wouldn't be throwing him out, though, if he couldn't run. That's at least, I guess, my read on the situation. Now, does it matter? Maybe not. Dallas could still be the right side.
Well, I hope he can run because he's got no weapons. I mean, there are no assets on that offense. So he's going to have to do it all himself. And DeMarcus Lawrence is back for the Cowboys, too, and that's not going to help their cause either.
And if he does, then we're going to need a public apology on the show tomorrow from Qwan. I don't know what exactly, but I got a free roll on Saints money line. Taysom Hill money line. You got to do something on the show tomorrow for Friday that's embarrassing. I'll think about it.
I'm not. That's the one thing I'm not worried about.
That's probably true. All right, Patrick, good luck tonight. We will talk to you later on.
All right, bye, guys.
See ya.
Speaking of, before we get to the next caller, should we do the 1 chip challenge?
The spicy chip thing?
Yeah.
I've seen people do that, and there's like no way it's that hot. Like, you just have to eat the chip, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, we're doing the 1 chip challenge. There we have it. We got
I don't know, is it like ghost pepper flakes or I don't know exactly what it is, but I imagine I can eat the chip.
Oh, we got a tough guy here, Hayden.
Look, I told you I couldn't eat gross hot dogs, like maybe 3 or 4 max, and I was honest about that. The spice thing, I'm not usually phased.
Listen, you don't got a tough
unless
guy
it's really like way hotter than anything I've ever had.
I'm going to get on the internet right now and order
overnight Amazon.
I'm going to order
right.
overnight is 2 chips. Hayden's on.
Hayden, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm just beating the Pinnacle line. My pick the other day went against the sharpest book in the history of ever, and looks like I'm getting some line value for my Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it helps when everyone's out for the other team as more information comes through. But it makes it worse if you guys don't win tonight. What was the number that you locked in? Was it 4, right?
I think it was 4, yeah.
Yeah, and it was 4.5 most places,
I think,
so I made a comment.
Yeah, 4.5 the other places, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mostly jokes. But, yeah, so I'm kind of looking for something an exotic line today.
Okay.
Do you have so this is the Man City Watford game on Saturday. Do you have a Zinchenko to get a yellow card?
I'd have no idea where to look for that. I can look.
I think it would be like prop. But yeah, I have a backup for this because I don't know if like maybe they wait to release like these props when lineups are out.
Maybe I can check. How do you spell his name?
Zinchenko. It's like a Vinchecko, I believe.
DIN.
He's the left back for Man City. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not populating on this prop search thing I have.
Yeah,
unless you have a direct. But what's the angle though? Like, why? I've never heard of anyone that wanted to bet on someone to get a yellow card. Did he tell you he really hates the guy and he's gonna like take him out?
No, it's just Manuel Dennis, like Watford's kind of like attacker, best player right now with Sarr injured, and I don't know the game yesterday. Like half the Chelsea defense got a yellow card because he was just like a beast, and so kind of the angle is like it's just going to happen again, because he usually plays on that side that Zinchenko would be on.
Understood. Okay. Well, good luck if you find a line for that. What was your backup?
Backup is going to be college basketball. Hold on. Let me get something. A couple lines did move my way that I disagree with. And I'm going with Robert Morris, +2.5.
Okay. What's your angle? Do you have numbers that you use that are just
just numbers
saying there's value?
Numbers that I have. Yeah. And so that's one I kind of don't really understand. I had a big edge on it at open. I took it +1, and that's moved against me, which probably shouldn't be fading this team and retiring, but that's what I'm going to do here.
You never know. I think the few numbers that I've looked at on this game have it close to pick. So 2.5 now, unless there's like an injury I'm unaware of or someone that's resting. This worked for you last time, but Circa, they take some of the biggest bets in Las Vegas. They moved about 22 minutes ago to 2.5. Most of the market is 2. So good luck fading that. Maybe it works for you again.
Yeah. I compare my closing line to Circa on an app. So yeah, that's where I saw Circa +2.5. Everything else is 2. So
there's like one other 2.5 in the world, but might as well take it. All right, man. Good luck tonight.
Let's go. Thank you, Steve.
All right, who do we got up next?
We got Christian in Oregon.
How's it going, Christian? What happened last night? Were you at the game?
I was. My brother Carter was, though. I don't know. I know. I can't remember his name. It's like Braxton something for BYU. I know he tore his ACL, so he's out. He was a pretty solid big man. It's just, it's UVU. It's one of those games, like, they're only like 5 miles away from each other's campuses. So there's kind of like a little sneaky rivalry there whenever they play each other. So
I had some betting friends in a thread I'm in last night that were like, why are you guys in OT against UVU? And I said, it's kind of like the Utah State thing too, where UVU thinks it's a rivalry. BYU doesn't even care. And they just caught them on a night that, they ended up winning that one outright. So credit to them, but it is disappointing, I guess, that, and honestly, Oregon keeps underachieving and hasn't looked great. So I'm not sure how much we can put into that BYU 30-point Oregon win. I was kind of I think I got too excited about it. Now that I'm looking back already a couple weeks later, I'm like, okay, BYU is probably not actually going to be a top 10 to 15 team.
No, I think they'll still make it a game with Gonzaga when they do play them in the regular season. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of wishful thinking at this point, especially with my future with them being in the Final Four. So, but but no, the worst was I actually had the over in that game, and it was 138. And
can't even get there in overtime.
Yeah, no. I knew it was a long shot even in overtime, but it actually would have hit if at the very last play, one of the players just like threw it over the baseline, and they UVU had a wide open layup and just passed it, just let the clock run out.
You lost by 1, right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So
sorry to hear. What do you want to lock in for tonight?
So funny enough, it's gonna be college basketball, but I'm actually gonna stick to Utah. I'm gonna go Utah State tonight against St. Mary's. I think
-1.
I know the line has moved. I know the line has moved to like -1 now. If that's the case, I might as well just take the money line.
Not necessarily. I mean, the 1 isn't I mean, you can get a 1 at -108. Let me see what money line is. -114. I'm fairly certain the 1 in college hoops is not worth 6 cents. I can double check for you, but I would take the -1 at -108 instead.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that then. I do like. I think people are kind of sleeping on Utah State this year. They've got Ryan Odom there, who was the head coach at UMBC when they upset Virginia, and he's actually we're actually pretty familiar with him. I know he's from North Carolina. We actually one of my brothers actually grew up knowing him a little bit. And he's a really good, solid coach. I think he's going to take Utah State to probably the Mountain West Championship. They're really good.
I hope so. I kind of is nice to have those storylines. Ooh, I was wrong. -114 is 1 cent better on the money line than -1, -108. So I'm going to make you switch. You're going to take money line -114. It is 1 cent better.
Okay.
So nice.
All right.
What I was going to say is, I think it's fun to have those storylines from smaller schools up to bigger programs. I know Utah State's not huge anyway, but if he has success again, leads to a job, down the road at a big Pac-12 school or something out here on the West, you never know. So I'm kind of rooting for Utah State and Odom in that sense.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I'm a huge fan of the coach. He was actually on Carter's podcast before the season started. And like I said, my family they kind of know him a little bit. He's just a really, really good overall guy, great coach. So I think he knows what he's doing there at Utah State for sure.
Nice. Excited to hear it. I'll have to go back and listen to that episode. I didn't realize that they had him on. That's great. Appreciate it, man. Good luck tonight.
All right, take care.
See ya.
The order is placed
for the chips.
For the chips.
Which ones did you get? What are they called?
Packy. Carolina Reaper. PAC or PAQUI. Carolina Reaper Madness 1 chip.
Oh, this one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the PAQUI. I see. I've seen the wait, these are $22 for one chip.
That's crazy. Yeah. Bet you can't eat just one. Get it? Because of Lay's.
I'll have to Venmo you for those. I didn't realize they were. One chip is $22.17.
It's not about.
Is there gold flakes on it?
It's about the death that you experience in your mouth.
Have you ever tried it before?
No, absolutely not.
Hold on a second. Wait, you can get a 2-pack for $39.95. So you saved $4. Congrats. I'll send you 40. This is. I'm so sure it's going to be fine to eat that I'm now you're so sure that I'm wrong and too confident that now I'm actually wondering if I am being too confident.
I think you are.
It's a chip, a Carolina Reaper. I've had plenty of Carolina Reaper hot sauces. Maybe this one has more of it, but it's dried anyway. It's a chip. Scorpion pepper. I'm sure it's hot, but you literally can't eat it. I'll have to remember. I've seen a couple YouTube videos. They just can't even swallow it.
They eat it,
or some people do, but then it's just the reaction. That might get me to sweat, Patrick. If you want to see me sweat while I eat something, maybe this does that.
Next,
but I should be able to eat it.
It says
I could do it live during a show and still do a show. I'm pretty sure. So we'll find out tomorrow.
We're good. No, it's
Monday
next week. I think December 7th.
Jeez, are these coming from a different country?
That's what I tried to look it up locally.
They're 2 chips. All right, that'll be $40. And if you want it by next week, it's $40 shipping too.
Around Christmas.
All right, who's next?
We got Carlos.
Carlos, buenos dias.
Yeah, nacho cheese to you too, Preston.
Is it that bad?
Hey, listen.
All right.
No, it's bad, but
All right, me and you can practice on the side together.
I was just about to say, if you have that show, definitely fly me out because I wanna be next to you and learn.
What are you looking at for tonight?
Qwan, I'm glad you're okay. Oh, tonight. Well, like I say, Qwan, I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you, Carlos.
Tonight, no problem. I'd like to know if you have an alternative spread for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes. How high would you like to go?
What is the line now? 6.5, 7?
It's 6 most places. You want to
So,
lay
what
like
is the
10.5, something like that? Like how high are you thinking?
Yeah, 10.5. That would be good. What do you got for that?
You could go minus 20.5 if you want to go that high, plus 425. No.
No.
I can give you 13.5 plus 210. You think they win by 2
I'll
TDs?
take that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think New Orleans don't have a chance in hell. I could be wrong. I just think that Dallas is they got all their weapons back, and they're just gonna go all out. They have to watch out for Philly, the Giants, and my Washington football team. I think we're all in the mix somehow. I think maybe the Giants aren't, but I think Dallas is gonna put the pedal to the metal tonight and beat.
Go ahead,
Carlos. I need you to focus.
Gonna beat them pretty bad.
I'm already listen, Preston. You can keep that 40, and I just owe you 10 for Carlos. I need you to focus this. Okay. I need you to. I need you to do what you do on Betting Extraordinaire on Last Word Cheetah.
I got you, Qwan. I got you, buddy.
I don't need you to get me. I need you to do it. Okay. This $50 is it. You're taking money out of my pocket for my family. I had trust in you and faith.
Well, listen. At least this is the last month, unless we start up in January. But,
Never. No. This 2021 is it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, let me get the minus 13.5?
Yeah, plus 210. I think that's better than doing 10.5 at plus 155. Chances of it landing 11, 12, and 13 probably worth taking the extra 55 cents payout, I think. So yeah, we'll roll with that, plus 210.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
Gracias.
De nada.
He knew that one too. That's good.
We got Andrew.
Hola, Andrew. ¿Cómo está?
What's up, guys?
Hey, welcome to the show. What do you got for us today?
I'm looking at some plus money with the San Antonio Spurs.
Hey, I have a small edge on plus 5 there, actually, for people that want some action. 2 ugly ones, but I kind of agree with you. Pistons plus 12.5 is the other one, for what it's worth. But yeah, break down the Spurs. I'll pull up money line prices and see what I can give you.
The Spurs were pretty bad to start off the season. They had some injuries. Jakob Poeltl's been a pretty big part of what they're doing, manning their defense in the middle. Recently, they've kind of turned their form, playing better defense. DeJounte Murray is,
Beast.
growing into his own, almost getting a triple-double every night. Keldon Johnson is an animal on the glass. And then Portland's trending in the other direction. Dame's going to be out. Norman Powell will probably be out, and that team's not very deep to begin with.
I was shocked to see this open lower and get bet up. Now it's starting to creep back towards 4.5 some places now that I'm actually pulling it up. Still plenty of 5s in the market, so I'll give you plus 175, by the way, on the money line. I'm with you, though, 100%. No Dame, potentially no Powell. San Antonio's in pretty good health. I think McDermott is upgraded to probable. And then
right.
There's one more, maybe Vassell or Vassell. I'm not sure how you actually say his last name. He's also probable. But they're not really missing anybody outside of Zach Collins, but he's been out anyways and is always out. I'm surprised full health San Antonio Spurs against the Portland team, who's not very good themselves. No Dame. 5's just, and that's such a key number in hoops. I'm with you. Money line or the points, I think San Antonio's the side.
Appreciate it, guys.
No problem. Take it easy. I'll talk to you later. And the Pistons one is ugly because it's the Suns who never lose. But Booker's out, obviously, and they have Golden State, who they just beat, back up, traveling to San Francisco to play them tomorrow. So if there's ever like a spot to probably fade Phoenix with a bad team, it's here. And the no Booker projection for people that are curious, I had 10 point something, like 10.6 or 10.7. So I think it's a little over a point of value just anyways. Carrying on. Who's up next?
We got Paul in Tuscaloosa.
Paul, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for calling in. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, actually, you just touched on it. I think I was going to go with the Pistons plus 12. It's just a horrible spot for Phoenix and without Booker, and so yeah, I was going to ride with Detroit.
Plus 575 on the money line entice you? No, just want the points.
It's actually tempting, but no, I'll take the points this time. So
it's not enough. I just looked at my price chart. It's not enough, even though I show some value on the point spread. Money line's vigged pretty hard when it gets to that big of a favorite. I will ask you and leave you with this. Excuse me. When that game was being played the other night, one of my friends, when I was in London a few weeks ago, his name is Eben. He's a big NBA fan. Steph Curry is his favorite player of all time. He's actually a Warriors fan just because of Steph, basically. I'm trying to find my tweet. It was extremely brash and annoying, but this is actually how it happened. We were eating a charcuterie board, and we were drinking tea in London, me and Eben and one other friend. And he said, there's a player in the NBA that I think is the most important player to their team that everyone would say is their fourth option. Who's the player? And I thought about it for about a minute, and I said, which conference is it in? And he said, West. And I was like, oh, it's Mikal Bridges. And Mikal Bridges, sure enough, I tweet about this because Booker goes out in the second quarter. He's going to miss the second half. And I said, let's test that theory here. The Suns were up 2, and the second half line was +2, +1.5, +1, because you can't tie, so there was a lot of variation in sports books. But regardless, the bet was, hey, there's going to be an overreaction because defensively, he's way more important to what they do, and he was bothering Steph so much in that matchup. So anyway, I'm curious, now that I gave you that whole soliloquy, what are your thoughts on losing Devin Booker's not the end of the world for Phoenix? Do you have any?
It's not, obviously. Well, in a one-game scenario, they played well, and they have a lot of good pieces, and Johnson, and of course, Ayton inside, and of course Paul is healthy, and so he got a lot of firepower still, and obviously they even, like you said, with Bridges, they play excellent defense, and that that usually shows up most nights. So yeah, I think they'll be fine in the long term, depending on his status. But yeah, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. So yeah, I but like you said, tonight, it's just a bad spot. So hopefully we'll catch him on a. Hopefully Cunningham will play 40 minutes and get some garbage time points, and and maybe lands around 7 to 10. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Likewise. Anyway, appreciate the discussion. I was just curious, and I'm with you. You need in a 7-game series, of course, you prefer Booker than not. His thought though was, if they didn't have Bridges in a 7-game series, they're also screwed. That's kind of he should be considered at that tier, and most people just don't talk to him about him that way. So he's kind of like the Kawhi Leonard vibe to a team that without Kawhi, the Spurs or the Raptors never get to where they did and win their titles. So it's an interesting take. We will see how it plays out tonight.
Agree.
Good luck tonight, man.
Yep. All right. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
See ya. By the way, Qwan, real quick before we move on, I know we're going a little slow, and also we have Collin in 10 minutes. If everyone can't call in, you can throw in some bets in the chat. We'll confirm them after, or we'll open up the lines at the end of the show for a few more minutes. Do you remember how the Suns got Mikal Bridges?
No.
Because the 76ers drafted him with the 10th overall pick in the draft and then traded him on draft day. Do you know who for? Imagine if Bridges was playing with like Embiid and Simmons, the last few years, but especially that defense. Jimmy Butler, when he was there, they probably beat Toronto, honestly, with a Simmons, Bridges, Butler, Embiid 4.
Who are they trading for?
And Tobias Harris maybe is there. Zaire Smith, the draft day trade, and a future Miami 2021 first-round pick, which they just used. Zaire Smith from Bridges is essentially the trade. Zaire Smith hasn't played much.
Yeah, I got the gist.
It was a rough one. But the Sixers, as great as the process was, and the idea, they drafted Markelle Fultz #1. They traded Bridges, who they got to fall to #10, for Zaire Smith. They also drafted Nerlens Noel, right, way up at the top, if I'm not mistaken. Am I making that up? Now you're looking at me funny.
Wasn't he in New Orleans first?
There's one more player they drafted, like another big. Now I got to look this up. Oh, his rights were traded to Philadelphia later. That's why I was thinking of that. Who did they? All right, everyone has to wait for us now. Who was the other? But he did get traded over to there. We're almost there. All right. Oh, Jahlil Okafor. That was the other big that just from Duke he couldn't hang at all. So it was Okafor. Man. So close yet so far. But between Okafor and Fultz' top 3 guys and then trading Bridges for Zaire Smith, what could have been? All right, who's up next?
We got Jim in Philly.
Jim, I didn't know you were up. I wasn't trying to talk crap about the Sixers and how much they've botched the drafts right before the Philadelphia man calls. Jim, sorry. What is up? How are you doing?
Good. It's funny. I'm sitting there like, oh my God, if you put me through, I'd give them all these answers of Okafor and Zaire Smith and, all these guys.
Knew.
But, yeah. Boy, a lot of Cowboys love tonight. I'll tell you that. I know how this story ends. I've seen this before.
That is usually how it goes. That's why I said if Taysom Hill figures it out tonight, I got to make Qwan eat both chips when they
Wait
arrive.
a minute now.
I think, look, I still think the Saints are well coached. They remind me a lot of the Patriots last year. Kind of like undermanned, but, Belichick still made sure they were a 500 team, even through all the injuries and opt-outs. You think that they're not just going to roll over to the Cowboys tonight. So I just, alt spreads and all that's a little crazy to me. But I'm going to go with a TD prop. Deontay Harris, he's plus 450 anytime at FanDuel. I just like what I've been seeing from him on film, and I think he can get in tonight. He makes plays on the perimeter, and they're lacking playmakers, so I think there's a number of ways he can get in tonight.
Did you get that bet, Qwan? Repeat it for us, Jim. I'm not sure what price you quoted. I'll be honest, I missed it too.
It's Deontay Harris. He's plus 450 at 450. FanDuel. Anytime, not first.
I'm trying to pull it up, but he's not coming up. All right, there it is. Okay, let me just make sure there's not a better price. Anytime.
He's
TD.
Much worse on DraftKings.
First TD is 21-1, and plus 450 is the best price. All right, got it down. Good luck, Jim. We will talk to you later on, bud.
All right, later.
Good luck. Next.
Got Alec in Ohio.
Okay, we're going to zoom through a few. Alec, welcome back to the show. What are you looking at for tonight?
I'm seeing Iowa plus 367 at Circa against Michigan.
This is okay. What's the angle now? Well, I got to hear you break this one down.
I think it's there was a little bit of an overreaction to Michigan beating Ohio State. They open at 13. I think it's down to 11 now at most places. Iowa is really good at playing against teams with like a slower pace. If this was against Ohio State, I wouldn't have bet it. But because Michigan's kind of a slow team, I think Iowa can keep this game in front of them.
So I imagine we're going to be talking about this game with Collin. There's 10.5 and 11. I actually think it's a little bit low, to be completely honest. I'm not sure if Petrus, I think I pronounced his name incorrectly earlier this week. Look, they go from losing by 20 to Wisconsin because Iowa just had like all this turnover luck and all of the special teams going their way. And then they follow it up with a game against, oh, by the way, let me back up even a little bit more. They were down 14 to Penn State, and Clifford got hurt at quarterback for Penn State, and Penn State never got another first down. Iowa comes back and wins by 3. They follow that up. They're a double-digit home favorite, lose by 17 at home to Purdue, lose by 20 to Wisconsin, only beat Northwestern, the worst team in the Big Ten this year, by 5. They barely beat Minnesota at home, but they were outgained by 200 yards. They beat Illinois by 10 at home. They're down 19 in Nebraska in the fourth quarter, or they scored 19. They were down 12. I can't buy Iowa at all. The common thing is going to be, oh, everyone's overreacting to Michigan beating Ohio State, letdown spot. Iowa stinks. I actually think they're probably the most overrated team in the country. So, didn't mean to throw that all on your face for the call, but I'm very much considering if we can get a Michigan minus 10, just betting the Wolverines actually, but it's probably not going to get to 10. That's my assumption. Anyways, just wanted to run through it now before we talk to Collin, but we'll lock you in. There's a plus 370, by the way, give you a few cents better than 367, and we will see what happens.
All right, I'll take it. Thank you, guys.
See ya. I just remember the last time you were like, oh, Iowa played a really good game. It was October 1st when they had a healthy quarterback in Petrus against Maryland. Remember how they barely beat Colorado State at home the week before that? I don't know. They just have not been good. What's funny is if they do beat Michigan somehow and a bunch of other teams lose, like Bama, Cincy, Okie State, like there's a world Iowa gets into the playoff, which is, I'm telling you, they are not good.
They're going to be upset.
I kind of like their team total under, for what it's worth. I just don't know how they're going to score against Michigan. Michigan they have great special teams and doesn't turn it over, which is where Iowa's just been gift wrapped so much. The team total, I know, was 17.5 earlier. I think it's juiced, though, pretty heavily. Anyways, do we have any time, or is Collin on?
I do not see Collin.
Okay, then let's take one more caller if we have someone, and then we'll go to Collin after that.
Jamie in Atlanta.
All right, Jamie, got to keep it quick. What do you like for today?
Let's go Kent State minus 3. I was going to do it yesterday. Most of them are gone, but there's like one left. Bet online minus 115, I think.
Yep, minus 115 there.
Yeah, I mean, NIU been kind of lucky all year. They're like 7-2 in one-score games. I had them coming in as like bottom half of the MAC. I'm not totally convinced that they're actually that good. And they've really struggled against teams who can throw the ball. They got kind of rolled by Western Michigan last week. And then they, had a shootout with Kent State earlier this year where Kent State ends up on top. And, I mean, I think if it is a shootout, Kent State's just better equipped for that. And I actually don't really trust NIU to keep up in a shootout anyways. Like, I don't think they're as well equipped. So I betted it 2. I'll take it at 3. That's kind of the last number I would play. But for the week, I'll lock that in before they're all gone.
All righty. Minus 3, minus 115. I know a bunch of people that played Kent State Sunday night, Monday morning. So they are with you.
Yeah.
I think 3 is fair personally. And I think you're right. Northern Illinois isn't very good. But I also don't think Kent State's very good. Both of them were, I think, double-digit dogs to win the conference before the season started, which is kind of cool. Someone out there is going to have a big score. I think Kent State was as good as 15-1, and now they're a favorite. So, yeah, we'll leave it with that. Appreciate it, Jimmy. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Talk to you guys in a few.
That's true. Didn't he? I think he went with the Suns for day one of Who Wants to Be a Betting Extraordinaire. So we will have day 2 in about 20 minutes. Is Collin on?
I need a second to set him up. So
You have another caller?
we got
Yeah.
Ty.
Okay. Ty, what's up, man? We got another minute or so. What do you have for us today?
Hey, what's the best line you can get me on Cal this weekend?
Why does everyone like Cal so much? I don't understand it. Did we talk about this yesterday? Someone did when they called in. You can get a 4 still. There's 1 or 2 4s that are still around, then some 4.5s. But yeah,
I'll take the 4. And I got a quick question for you. You might not be able to answer it because you got to go to Collin, but I just wondered really quick what your thoughts are on like the Oklahomas and the Notre Dames of the world who are sort of pissed at their coach who left. Like, are those buy spots in bowl games to say, hey, we can win without those guys, or is there more to it than that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I've gone back, and there's probably instances where they do win and everyone's like, see, look, they were pissed at their coach. And then there's all the times that those teams lose big, and it's like, see, look what the coach did. It just goes both ways. I don't think there's any historically significant edge one way or the other.
All right, thanks. I'll run so you can go to Collin.
No problem. Thanks, Ty. Appreciate it. Although Qwan might have wanted more time. Is he good?
No, he's good.
All right, cool. Go ahead and put him through. Collin from the Action Network. Welcome back, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I almost missed our time slot here because I'm literally having a Twitter conversation with Eric Musselman about offensive rebounding and points per possession. I was like, he's really responding to me. So I almost missed our time slot here.
We should just be live streaming your convo with Musselman right now on Twitter. Did you respond yet?
Yeah, I've already responded back. He told me he wanted to mention that he was really happy with the offensive rebounding performance and keeping them off the boards. And then I wanted to retort with, we have Charlotte and Hofstra. We have all these teams up next, and they're all outside the top 300 in offensive rebounding. So I'm not really sure we're getting a real test here for a while until we get to SEC play. But it's nice. I think that speaks to Musselman and who he is with our program because he's so engaged with fans. He's so engaged with Sam Pittman and with Dave Van Horn, our baseball coach. But he responds to like anybody on Twitter. He's I don't know. He's great for the sport. He's great for everything. I'm glad that he's so deep into analytics, kind of like you and I are.
I know. I was just looking at the thread for those @_Collin1. Go find this. So he was responding initially to the Razorbacks Twitter account, just tweeting we're 7-0 from yesterday.
Right.
He says about 27 minutes ago, he says post-game autopsy, we averaged just 1.11 points per possession tonight, falling short of our goal. What is their goal? Do you know off the top of your head?
To be better than last year. I don't know what the number is, but I do know that.
So maybe 1.15 or something, but okay.
Yeah.
He says we started off slowly in the first half. We only averaged 1 flat in the first half, making it nearly impossible to meet our goal for the game, but 1.19 in the second half was still a little short. So maybe they want to get to 1.2, which is extremely high. You said love the defense, though. Best opponent PPP so far in the wins. He responds, minimize scoring chances. There are 2 key ways to do this: force turnovers, limit the offensive glass. So that is cool. If he responds to you again, let us know. Take a minute. No problem. This is pretty cool.
I'm afraid to keep up with him, Preston, because he once tweeted I think the social account for the basketball team tweeted out we're 4-0, and Musselman retorted with something like, yeah, but we were 0.7 points per possession and floaters from the paint. And I'm like, where the hell did he get that stat? I would love to have that stat.
That's, I think, just Synergy. Synergy will have shot types.
Floaters in the paint.
Yeah. That's nice. And he knows it that quickly, and they're already thinking about it. Now, that is impressive. You had even said before, maybe it was last time we had you on, I know it was 2 or 3 weeks back, kind of right before the season was starting, and you said that you thought Arkansas would start slow, potentially, at least a team that you could fade early, which I think was successful their first 3 or 4 games, and that you think is a team that for sure can compete for an actual March Madness tournament run by the end of the year. So we'll be watching closely.
Yeah, and that's actually been playing out. So for those of you that have been I've been paying attention, but we played Northern Iowa right after that, and I think we were losing at halftime, but ended up covering the spread of like 13. And then even last night against the Central Arkansas team, we were losing through the first 10 minutes of that game before we turned it on. So it's like I said, this team, they may cover games, they may not, but they're still looking to find themselves. And I guarantee by the end of January, we'll be one of the hottest teams on the market.
So with that, let us look at the conference championship games that we have for college football. I didn't want to just pick a couple. We're going to blast through all of them quickly. And I know me and you are bad at doing things quickly, but I want to hit on every game at least for a minute or two. One that's interesting now, all the way up to 3.5. There was even a 4 at Circa that just moved 30 seconds ago. Western Kentucky Friday night against UTSA. Are you with everyone else? Did you bet Western Kentucky early before it was through the 3? Or what are your thoughts now? What are you looking at?
Well, I never posted the ticket on Twitter because I feel like I'm past the point. There was this thing, Preston, like when you and I met like years ago, I felt like I needed some street cred, and I would post tickets to prove that I do gamble. So I never posted my 14-1 future on Western Kentucky. I was in Vegas over Memorial Weekend, and I was with my family, and I woke up and cycled through all the books and saw that Conference USA odds were put up, and I left and went and hit 2 shops on 14-1 Western Kentucky. So I've got around like $2,000 total with 4 different tickets on 14-1 on Western Kentucky. And I knew Bailey Zappi was coming in. I knew all this Houston Baptist offense. I knew all of this. And I purposely kept quiet for months because I didn't want odds makers to know about this. Yeah. And so here we are. I mean, they had a losing record, and now they've rattled off like 7 straight. They look unbelievable. And a common friend of ours, a very good friend of ours that we share, told me this morning that I am really stupid for not hedging the ticket. So I don't know what you would do having 2,000 down on a 14-1 futures ticket on Western Kentucky, but to be as quick as I possibly can, UTSA is absolutely exhausted. They barely beat Southern Miss. They just got ran out of the building by North Texas. And if you look at their coverage numbers, they're almost dead last. They're outside the top 100 in coverage grading. They can't defend the pass. And then finally, what I'm about to say on our podcast coming up for Big Bets on Campus, Sincere McCormick, his last 3 games, he's only created 1 missed tackle. He has 39 on the season. He's only created 1 missed tackle, and he's less than 2 yards after contact. I think this roster is exhausted. I think they're a shell of what they used to be, even when they beat Western Kentucky early in the season. I don't want to hedge this at all. Like, I don't want to give a penny of any of it back.
So 2 things. Not only the offensive side, they played North Texas, and everyone, like UTSA is not good defensively through the air. They haven't been. I think they're outside the top 100 in EPA against the pass. They gave up like almost 300 rushing yards to North Texas too. So although Western Kentucky doesn't run very often, if they do and when they do, like UTSA's defense just looks like they're absolutely exhausted. So I think that's a great point. Look, I would tell, I think, the average person, if they bet 2K and they have 28K that they can pocket and locking up, whatever it is, 16,000 guaranteed or something like that, either direction, like go for it. You kind of just have to take it. For you, obviously, you're in a good position with how you're handling your money and your bets. So I probably wouldn't hedge it at this point. And look, everyone else is betting Western Kentucky anyways. So the matchup's just good, and I think the read on UTSA is spot on, and I wouldn't – if you absolutely just want to not hate yourself, maybe you bet UTSA money line to win your 2,000 back, and then you're just free rolling everything else. Something like that. If you really want to but that's mostly just hedging your tilt value or something of like if the result goes against you. But I think you're good at just let it ride and pocket 28K. It was a good bet, and you're in great shape.
That's what we're going to do.
Pac-12. Here's the story. Holy cow, Utah just crushed Oregon. How are they only 2.5 now? Now, people probably forget that just 2 weeks ago, how much do you put in stock-wise to one result versus the market? Utah closed 3 at home, and Utah is one of the best. Salt Lake City is one of the best home field advantages in the world, probably worth more than 3. So that line is implying Oregon's better on a neutral field. Now, Utah is 2.5 or 3. That's implying they're a lot better than Oregon on a neutral field because this is neutral in Vegas. Any thoughts on this game? I do think Utah should be a small favorite, but it's a little high for me. And anyone that bets the +3, I honestly couldn't blame them. Did you do anything earlier on this week?
It is high, and I took +3 just because I'm a math guy, and it shouldn't be that number. And you can see that there's some buyback, coming down to 2.5, and I think Utah's probably going to take a little bit of money and come back up to that 3. The matchups that had me big on Utah 13 days ago or 13 days before this game, they're still there. I mean, this Oregon defense can't stop the run, and so I think what you have to do real quick with this game is I am not going to throw out any stats or numbers because they're the same as they were 2 weeks ago, and that's how it played out in Rice-Eccles. But at the same time, Whittingham said, we're not making any changes to either side of the ball, minimal changes. Cristobal said on Monday, I'm not going to talk schematics in this press conference, but there's going to be wrinkles on both sides of the ball. And I'm sitting thinking to myself, well, what is the wrinkles that he's going to do? Well, he's going to have to load the box and force Cam Rising to burn him deep. And then on the offensive perspective, you're going to have Anthony Brown throw on first and second down, something you didn't do in the first time. So I took the over in this game, 59 being a key number. I took the over in this game, and it's come down a couple points. Now, I haven't seen an injury or a reason why. Maybe people just think Utah shuts him out. But if Anthony Brown's going to start throwing the ball on first and second down, that's going to lead to way more possessions than what it was in Rice-Eccles. So I don't know. I still lean with the over. It's not a huge play. And I don't know if I'm going to come back on that Oregon. That was just a pure numbers play at 3. But if there's wrinkles that Oregon's going to throw in, that would make me think there's more scoring.
It's not comforting. You're supposed to bet Oregon at +3 probably, but it's not comforting. I actually, just for a side bet for the show where I had to make a pick in every game, I went with Utah just because I'm a graduate. My master's degree's from there. And I can just root for them because I want, and I have 17-1 with a partner of mine from way earlier in the summer on Utah. I believe you may even have a piece of that yourself. So, yeah, we need Utah to win. So I'm rooting for them. But look, Oregon.
When's the last time they went to the Rose Bowl? When's the last time they went to the Rose Bowl? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, they went to the Sugar Bowl pre-Pac-12 days against Bama and won that one. But I'm not sure if they've been to the Rose Bowl since they got to the Pac-12, unless I'm forgetting.
I know I'm hearing that narrative too. Like they're gonna get tight this weekend. So we'll see.
We will see. I don't have anything in this game, but it is the Big 12 championship game. Outside shot if Oklahoma State crushes them, and Cincy maybe wins a close one that, Cincy jumps in. Oklahoma State jumps Cincy, and they jump into the playoff instead, especially if Bama loses and has a second loss. So any thoughts, though, on how this game goes?
Yeah, really, I don't think Bohannon's going to play for Baylor. If you look, he did practice without a helmet. I don't even know what that means. He was on the practice field with no helmet yesterday, so I'm not sure what kind of practice that is. I don't think Bohannon's going to play. That's going to give you the Shapen kid. And if you look at Aranda's press conference on Monday, Shapen makes him super nervous. So you're throwing a freshman against what I believe to be the second best defense in the nation. They're number 1 in hard stops. They're number 1 in 3 and outs. I think the smartest play in this game is a first half under. If you're not going to have Bohannon and you're going to have an Oklahoma State team that's on hangover from Bedlam, I think the smartest play in this game is a first half under. I am not going to swallow this many points with Oklahoma State. I make it 4, but I don't see any reason why I don't tie it into other moneyline parlays.
I'm kind of with you. So Bohannon, there is a difference if he's not healthy or he's just not the guy playing. It's probably supposed to be a little higher anyway, but my number is 4.3, so it's nothing like I'm jumping to bet 5.5, right, or even 6. I would need probably a 7 before I considered Baylor. So I'm staying away. Let's go Mac. And by the way, do you record your pod at 2 or 2:30 Pacific?
In like another hour. We're good.
We're good? Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. Kent State, Northern Illinois. I know everyone's on Kent State. I thought 3 was fair. Probably would have bet Kent State at 2 or 2.5 before. It moved pretty quickly Monday. Now it's up to 3.5 almost everywhere. Did you look at something here for the MAC title game?
I have a 10-1 on Kent State. So I am loaded on futures this week. Nice. I really, I nailed it this year with future. 5 of, or maybe 6 of the games this weekend. I had a future back from May, and Kent's one of them. But I'm not going to hedge, especially on a team like Northern Illinois that is going to finish in the bottom 5 in second order win total. They're going to have some monster regression in their numbers going into next year. Just a lot of luck with a team that likes to run the ball. Rocky Lombardi is a walking turnover-worthy play. Kent will allow anybody to score, which is why you're up at 74.5, and their defense is pretty shoddy. But Northern Illinois doesn't move the ball that fast. They don't score that fast. And so I think the 74 is a little high. I mean, you don't need to blow teams out at all. I mean, this is just winning. You just need to get 3 possessions ahead and then play keep away. So I think a total this high is really a little unwarranted. I know it's a Kent State game, but Northern Illinois is not that fast, and they're not going to try to go this fast. So I do think Kent's going to win the game. I wouldn't buy 3.5, and I think the under is worth a look.
I am a little lower on this one, actually. So I think it opened more like 72. That's where I'm at. Not quite enough to play under for me, but that would be where I'd look as well. The one game that I do have at least a decent edge in is actually this next one. App State, Lafayette. I'm not going to say which side yet. I'm not sure if you know already or not, but what are your thoughts on the Sun Belt Championship game?
I make it 4.5, so I don't know who you see an edge on. So I've
We're
already got
with
App
each other
State
on 2.5. Yeah.
I've already got App State 4-1 to win the Sun Belt. I thought that number was an asinine number in the preseason because they had Coastal at -110, they had Louisiana at +110, and then all of a sudden App State's 4-1 after a pandemic season where they lost to Coastal. I mean, there's no shame in that. So listen, this is one of the best run defenses in G5. And Billy Napier said in his press conference earlier this week that he's assembling a recruiting and a coaching staff for Florida in his off hours. So he's spending the day coaching up the Sun Belt game, and he's spending his off hours building the Florida staff. So I can say that, his off hours. I can say with confidence that App State is the better team, and they show it statistically. The problem that I have, I'm glad I have a future and that it's a money line. And the problem I would have with betting 3 or let's say I see 2.5s on the board.
There's 2.5s left.
Is that Billy Napier has gone for 4th down 33 times this year. And he is just a guy at the roulette table that is going to throw dice until that very last chip leaves his sack. So
with his foot out the door too, he's just going to be doing whatever it takes. That's a fair.
Yep.
That's a fair read. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what scares me.
So I'm more like 4 as well, maybe a little bit higher than that. And so at 2.5s, App State was a buy. There's some 3s, but there's still some 2.5s. I'm with you. I just think just straight numbers. Whether you believe in Napier with his off hours prepping for Florida, I actually don't really care about that. I'd be betting in anything under 3 anyways. It's a bonus. Although you're right, we are going to see 4 fake punts. They're going for it on every 4th down. He might onside kick every time they score. There is like a lot of extra variance in this game, now that you mention it, that I hadn't considered before. It could also mean that App State's more likely to win by 3 TDs, though. Like, I just want to throw that out there. It can go both ways because it can go negatively for Napier, but the fact that he'll probably do that is almost a certainty.
2 things people should know about this game. Louisiana is +10 in turnovers their last 3 games. The last 2 times they've beaten App State in the last 12 months, they're +7 in turnovers. They've been extremely lucky. This is still a coach that lined up at 4th and 2 at the 30-yard line and told his quarterback to run backwards and get a safety. So I don't know if I want to be any part of this game except to have in the future.
Yeah, I believe they were +4 turnovers in the game in the matchup earlier this season when they played. App State will not be -4 in turnovers in this title game. I'm pretty confident there. Let's move to the AAC, the American. Houston, Cincinnati, mostly 10.5. Totals come down quite a bit, as low as 52 at circa from the 55s that were open Sunday night. Any thoughts, side or total, in this one now at the current prices?
Yeah, Houston, Clayton Tune likes to throw, and the problem is that Cincinnati has 3 guys in the secondary that are going to play at the NFL level. And if you're going to take away, Dell, if you're going to take away the best player in the air for Houston, they've got nothing else to do. So, in my opinion, I think the team total under on Houston is a better bet than Cincinnati on the spread.
21.5s I know were around and a lot cheaper earlier. It's been moving down quite a bit. Full game total has been moving down even more. So probably 21 is the number most people have to take. But I'm with you. I'm not sure how they get 4+ TDs. I am going to go next to the SEC title game. I'm curious about your thoughts on this one because, one, you've been saying for a few weeks that you would have had Georgia a 6.5-point favorite over Alabama. Has that changed since Bama almost lost to Auburn and Georgia keeps crushing everyone? Are you even higher now, or do you think this is mostly fair? Where are you at with the SEC title game?
I have it directly on 7. So, and I'm surprised it's not more after what Alabama's done against Auburn and Arkansas. They are getting dominated in the trench. They were dominated in the trench against Florida earlier in the season. That's when it first opened my eyes that, like, hey, first off, Bryce Young isn't throwing downfield, and second off, that offensive line is getting destroyed. And then I started doing more and more research and found out that Darian Dalcourt, Chris Owens, two guys that have been swapping in at center and right tackle, and then the new right tackle, Damian George, they're not just bad for Alabama's offensive line. They're some of the worst Power 5 linemen at their position, and as far as run grades, as far as pass blocking grades. And that's not going to change. And Saban has said, I'm not making any of the changes. He's not making changes because he doesn't have anybody else. So now Brian Robinson is hurt. Now we've got the only healthy running back who is it, Trey Sanders? Is that his name? I mean, we only have one healthy running back. So what does that mean? Bryce Young is going to be throwing a lot. And maybe there'll be a little bit of success there. But I just don't see Georgia blitzing that much. I can see them sitting back and trying to fill all the gaps because that's what Bryce Young does is he does this thing with the ball fakes. I've seen multiple ball fakes. He just hits spots on the field that are open. Last week on my podcast, I called him a glorified darts player, like a world championship of darts, because you just give him a spot, he'll hit it, right? So I think Alabama can do things to score, but that offensive line is the reason they're not going to win this game. It's the reason they're going to win the national championship. That offensive line is completely broken. And I think one of the big things is if they get blown out here, but they're able to get Bill O'Brien to go take that Virginia Tech job and they get a good offensive coordinator and they get some real offensive linemen in there, they're going to have a lot of value in next year's futures market. But for this game, I don't know why anybody's taking Alabama. I don't see it. And the other thing is Stetson Bennett's going to throw. I think Todd Monken has been holding back a passing game the entire season. They've had their wide receivers hurt most of the season. They've had their tight ends hurt most of the season. And what are you going to do? Run straight at Will Anderson? I don't think that's a good plan either. So I like the over in this game too. And I think it's because Bryce Young has to throw with a release time of 1 second. And Stetson Bennett's is just going to throw over Will Anderson. Just don't even think about even taking him on.
I think the argument, especially if you're looking at the quarterback position, who has the most talented quarterback? If you look at actual recruiting grades, obviously it's not Bennett, it's Bryce Young. Is there a coaching edge for Kirby Smart anymore in this one? Probably not. And then I hate to do this, but I think it's at least worth mentioning. The Clemson win, they didn't end up being as good as we thought. They're still good. They're a top 15 to 20 team, but wasn't as impressive. Even when they beat Florida, then Florida just lost every other game they played until they beat Florida State to end the year. They beat Auburn, I guess, on the road, and obviously Alabama. That's like the one comparison. Alabama struggled against Auburn. I'm a little worried that there's this, even a bad or a worse, we'll call it, Alabama offense is still better than really anyone that Georgia's defense has had to go up against. I actually do believe you that Monken and the offense they've been able to be so vanilla that they could absolutely pull some stuff out and surprise Bama. Maybe over's worth a look, but everyone's been betting under because no one thinks that Alabama's going to be able to score on Georgia. So I'm intrigued. Right. I'm not going to be betting it. I do have the number a little bit lower just because I have too much faith in Pryor's stock in Alabama and Saban that I can't get to 6.5, but I will be watching and rooting for Alabama to win because I kind of want to see Cincinnati have a chance to upset someone else, not Georgia. Otherwise, Cincinnati, I think, is just going to get run out of the dome if they have to face Georgia.
You're assuming Oklahoma State doesn't hop Cincinnati. So
that's the hope too. Yes, we need both of those to happen. I want to see an underdog in there. All right, we'll hurry up the last couple. Wake Pitt. I don't have anything here. If anything, I guess I would lay 3 with Pitt slightly. Unders moved a little bit, but did you bet anything in the ACC game?
None for me. I've hedged my Wake ticket, futures ticket. I think this game goes to overtime.
Wow, can you bet that?
Yeah.
10-1?
Yes. No, the Wake is it's a much larger ticket thanks to one of our common friends that I was able to when there was a mad rush for that number, I was able to get a piece of it. So, but I've essentially cut that future in half. It's not even worth talking about how big the number is because I cut it in half because I do think this is a game that goes to overtime. I can't make a case for the Wake defense, and I can't make a case that Pitt's defense is going to be able to stop Sam Hartman. So if I can't figure out the ending to this game, I might as well hedge my ticket.
I'm pretty sure I'm Googling my iMessages thread. Was it? Did it start with a 2 at the time?
Yes.
Yeah. It was like 250 to 1. It was such a great call.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I gave him no confidence and he bet it anyways. Well done.
Oh, well, my text response was a little bit different. My text response was, yes, they absolutely can. So I think maybe that's how I got a piece of it. So
yeah, it ultimately ended up. That week Clemson was playing one more like prove it game, and I was like, it's interesting. You kind of have to bet it now because if Clemson actually isn't very good, we'll know. I think it might have been right before they played NC State, maybe, and then they end up losing to NC State. And but if they beat NC State, they're probably not going to beat Clemson on the road. There's not going to be a chance to be better than the tiebreaker that Clemson will probably have because they play Wake at home. And then sure enough, you bet it, I think before Clemson, ended up losing 2 more. So fantastic. Well done. You guys hopefully are cashing nicely regardless of the result. 2 more. Let's do next on the board, Iowa, Michigan. A lot of people calling in, asking me, texting me, traditional letdown spot, got to bet on Iowa, et cetera, because Michigan just beat Ohio State, all of that stuff. Look, Iowa stinks. We've talked about it since like week 3. They've had this run of like 7 to 8 games where they've underachieved basically, and then lucked into the Nebraska fourth quarter where they won 19-0 and win that game. Any thoughts? What's your number? I'm just out of curiosity, just raw number, power rating or whatever for this matchup.
Yeah, my number on this was 12.5, and I think that what you're getting, and I've been high on Michigan. I've been really high on Michigan. I mean, this was we have a podcast called Sources that I do with Brett McMurphy, and about 5 weeks ago, I started telling everybody we should be laying money on Michigan, and the reason is because there's only a couple of teams that can really shut down that rushing attack, and their defense. The defensive coordinator Mike McDonald that came in from the Ravens. It's changed the game completely for Michigan. I don't think people realize that. They're so involved on what's happening on the offensive side of the ball, they don't realize this Michigan defense is playing at the level of Oklahoma State and Georgia. So I'm not touching the side on this. You don't really want to lay a double-digit favorite in a game that has a total of 43. There could be some sort of hangover involved. I feel like this is what we just talked about with Oklahoma State. I think a first half under is good. It's a really low number. But here's the deal. Iowa thrives, and they're terrible lately. Iowa thrives on field position and turnovers, and Michigan is either second or third in special teams. Especially, I think they're number 1 in kicking. So I don't see how Iowa is going to get any points on the board whatsoever. This could be one of those Iowa team total unders, first half unders. Michigan will wake up. They'll run them over enough to get some points on the board, but 11's a little bit too fat for me.
Yeah, I'm hoping it goes to 10 somehow. I just don't see it's going to. Even some of the 10.5s have gone back to 11 at places, so probably won't see 10 or better, but keeping an eye on it. Last, Mountain West Conference. Did you have anything on Utah State? You basically nailed every other one, but I'm going to bet you didn't bet on Utah State to win Mountain West. If you did, I'm going to hang up and end the feed.
No, I have a personal thing against Blake Anderson. So there were some things with him at Arkansas State that did not sit well with me at all, and I thought his move out to Utah State was not going to work whatsoever. Now, here he is in the Mountain West Conference game, so I whiffed on that one. I think Wyoming was my golden horse preseason, so that didn't work out either. But, in this game, again, here we go. We've got San Diego State, bus riding 115 miles to play a home game in an empty stadium. They have the coverage numbers. Now, we go back to what you and I just said about Georgia. Has anybody really tested that secondary? If they had a passing offense go against them? You can almost say the same thing about San Diego State. Like, who's had the vertical passing game to go up against that secondary? So
Fresno, and they beat
this
San Diego
for me.
State.
Yeah. So for me, I'm not swallowing 6. I have a personal thing against Utah State. They keep covering and they keep winning games. I'm having a hard time getting on that. But there is a joke over at the Action Network that everybody keeps getting mad at me because I'm always betting over on San Diego State games because they just seem to find a way. There's something stupid that happens with special teams or safeties or defensive touchdowns. So I might, for couch change, for a family-sized Chipotle meal, throw something down on that over 50. That's a large number for a San Diego State game, but I think that's maybe something fun I'll do, but nothing big on either side.
I think the one comp through the air is Fresno State. Jake Haener threw 42 times, completed 25 for 306 yards, also opened up a rushing game. They rushed for almost 200 yards as a team. I don't mind the Utah State +6, to be honest. Not quite enough for a play, but I think schematically, X's and O's wise, that's the one edge you can kind of find. But also their defense stinks, and the Aztecs could just score a bunch. Maybe over is the better look. Awesome. Collin, real quick, before we let you go, appreciate your time as usual. Let people know where they can find you and anything you have coming out before Saturday.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @_Collin1, Collin with 2 L's. You can find all my write-ups. I think I've previewed over half these games, writing perspective over at actionnetwork.com. And you can check out the Big Bets on Campus that I do with Stuckey. We're going to record it tonight. It should be out later tonight. Tomorrow morning, it'll cover every single conference championship game. And don't forget, we do a Big Bets on Campus live show on Saturday mornings at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, where Stuckey and I get to go with Brett McMurphy. And so far, I think I'm beating Stuckey by like 15 wins on the board. So I can't wait to wrap the season up as a big winner.
I've actually seen you. I've seen you show that off. I see that board on like Facebook even, I think, because Collin and I are friends, so we're actually Facebook friends. You always have like green numbers, and then Stuckey and Brett not so green, but it's okay. Well done this year.
Well, my grandma doesn't know how to watch the show, so I have to put it on Facebook and put the link in there. She has no clue how to watch the show. So
that's great. Good job, man. Good work this year, week to week, but also a bunch of these conference futures. Hopefully they all pan out your way. Don't hedge Western Kentucky. And we will talk to you later. And I think I'll be seeing you in Vegas. We were just talking earlier today anyway for the National Tidy Wild Card NFL weekend with some of the friends of ours. Excited for that, actually. I haven't been back to Vegas more than once since I moved to Southern California. So you got me in a good mood today just thinking about Vegas next month.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to do it. Thanks for having me on.
Take it easy, man. Talk to you later. Have you been back to Vegas since you've actually been kind of betting? I don't think you have that I'm aware.
No.
You went and bet, like, we're going to maybe bet Stafford
no.
But that was like before the season started anyway.
August.
Yeah.
My grandma doesn't know how to watch our show. She called me one time. Hey, I seen you on Facebook, baby.
just send her direct links every day.
No, absolutely not. She got a house phone, I think.
A house phone, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't watch them on the phone.
No, she actually does have a cell phone, but it's like flip.
Like a flip phone?
Like
okay.
No. Like no
could be worse
at all.
All right. I know you had a bunch of calls during that interview. You took down some bets.
We got a bunch of chat bets.
All right, let's run through those in like 2 minutes, and then we'll go to day 2 for Who Wants to Be a Betting Extraordinaire. And we'll get that on the road.
Nick is taking Baylor +6.
Interesting. Okay.
Hunter B has Juwan Johnson anytime TD. Mike taking Dak anytime TD +580. Hunter's Juwan Johnson is +850. Evan is taking USC on the money line. Brian from New York.
Homer.
Yeah, Dallas. Pat 6-point teaser. And OG John, who is still here and waiting for betting extraordinaire, wants the Predators on a -1.5 at +275.
Okay, that will do. Those all seem right. I didn't look up each one, but I can look up the Predators one. The hockey one's the only one I wouldn't know off the top of my head where it should mostly be. But I have no reason not to believe them. I think we're good to go. You have the graphic for the next show ready, maybe? Close?
You said 6.5, right?
No, we're going to do 6 and 46 for the NFL game tonight. Ties lose. It's day 2. No push wins. That was day 1. So that's how we're going to run it. We will catch you guys in a couple minutes for Who Wants to Be a Betting Extraordinaire day 2, or tomorrow, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. We'll be back with more Last to Cheetah in the Bets TV studios. Talk to you guys then.